if they live righteously.
It is time for another episode of the Cultural Hall. News? I don't know that this will necessarily be news. It'll be news adjacent. It will be, well, I'll say this. It will be all the news around Mormon people. Like, so I have a news search that picks up Mormon news. It will be all the Mormon newses we'll talk about for the next couple weeks. This is going to be a Secret Lives of Mormon Wives recap episode. Yeah. Listen, full of spoilers. I'm not going to try and be careful about this. If you've not yet watched season 2, the first 10 episodes, which, by the way, I'm a little angry about that. We'll talk about that here in a second. But if you have not yet watched them, listen at your own risk, because we're going to not try and be careful about that. I don't have the time or the patience to try and be spoiler free. So, I'm joined, of course, by who else would be talking to us about this, but Molly the Ash Ashton, who worth checking out on YouTube, you guys. The cutest jacket she's ever worn.
Thank you. Oh, I'm honored that you would say that. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you've worn some ugly jackets, so don't let it be too much of a compliment, but it is the cutest. I'm just joking. Why can't I just let a compliment stand? How are you doing? Well, things are good.
Sorry, what? I'm doing great, actually. Yes, I'm wearing this jacket because I'm in Nevada right now, and it's pretty cold. So I've been in Utah all week working, and was home for a few days now. I'm in Reno right now, but heading to Lake Tahoe later today.
Okay. When your husband starts to get a little sad that you have to travel so much and you're working so much, do you look at him lovingly and say, "Babe, that's just the way the cookie crumbles"? Because if you have not yet, I need you to.
I've definitely said that a time or two, but this is a couple's getaway. It's just me and him this couple of days. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Before school's out for the summer, we just anyway, we had a free hotel we needed to use for a few days. So here we are. We've never been to Lake Tahoe. We're gonna hike, but it is freezing here, so I have to wear my lumberjack jacket.
Well, and you have to weather being in Reno. I'm kidding. Reno's nice. Reno is the biggest little town.
Yeah. And we'll be heading out in about an hour to head to the lake. So.
Are you going out on the lake? People like to do the, why can't I think? Not canoeing, kayak. Paddleboarding. You doing any of that stuff?
We might. We're going to hike. We're going to do some biking. Maybe paddleboarding, maybe kayaking, depending on if it warms up a little bit. We might just stay in the hot tub and by the fire.
There you go.
I have no plan.
That's a whole different kind of vacation.
That's right.
Yes. Well, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I don't know that we'll take a break as we chat about this. Maybe we will. It might be like part 1 and a part 2. I have also consumed all 10 episodes, and I would like to start there. We have reported multiple times that 20 episodes of Real Lives of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, all the things, right? Whatever. That I thought there were supposed to be 20 episodes, and so we get to the end, the cliffhangerly end of episode 10, and I was like, let's go. Let's see where this is going to take us right now. And then it starts into our next Hulu program that isn't Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and I went, wait a minute, I have reported 20. Where are the other 10?
Yeah.
That's season 3 or maybe a part B season 2, but we only get 10.
Yeah, I'm a little frustrated. I mean, all of the reports have told us we were getting 20. So right. What is going on? It's very frustrating. Now, I don't know that I could have consumed 20 in the last 3 days, so I'm a little bit glad that I was able to watch all 10, but it was a cliffhanger, and now I'm so curious. And I will tell you something that I have been really careful about is I don't follow really many of the Mormon wives on social media. So there were some surprises for me in the show, which was very interesting because I follow the news reports and that sort of thing, but I'm not consuming Instagram and TikTok with them every day or anything. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so now I'm worried that I'm going to start and then I'm going to ruin what's in the next 10 episodes. But so it's kind of weird. I don't know. And have you been able to determine when they're going to release those next episodes?
A lot of people have speculated a September, October. So we've got some time. I also, like you, appreciate it because it is a binge. So let me talk about this. It is a binge-worthy show in that it is geared towards go, 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 watch it, watch it, watch it. It is not one where you're like, I feel at peace at the end of this episode. I'm just going to go ahead and take a break, and maybe I'll digest what I saw and I'll come back to it when I'm ready. No, we stayed up late multiple nights in a row trying to get through it, not only because I knew that we would talk about it, but also because it's just one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
And yeah, I you do not want to spend any time online if you have not watched it yet. Or if you want to be surprised by anything. I made the mistake by just looking at like a side thing that I was curious about one of the husbands.
Yeah.
And then the algorithm served me up something that I was like, well, that is a large spoiler that I just read.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, not about the fall episodes, but about these episodes that I watched. It was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. For people that may have no idea, and why you would still be listening at this point if you have no idea what Secret Lives of Mormon Wives were, it's a group of like 6 to 8 women about 5 years ago. They formed a thing called Mom Talk. They got big and popular, and then there was a swinging scandal that apparently, as we learn in season 2, maybe not as much of a swinging scandal as we really think. I mean, not to say that I would let my wife kiss another guy, or that I would kiss another guy or girl, or any of those kind of things. So certainly scandal as far as that goes. But there's a lot of stuff that comes out about that. And then this is their interaction and allowing and not allowing people to be in Mom Talk. That's what I felt like this whole second season was. Like, you get to be in. No, you don't. You're out. No, we hate you. No, we love you. No, you're back in. No, everyone should hate her. We should.
Yes. That was a lot of the theme of this season for sure. Yeah.
When you watch, does your husband just go, listen, that's you. I'm going to step out of the room. You get to have Secret Lives yourself.
Pretty much. He started watching the first episode, and he was like, and he made a comment, and he goes, well, at least they're not dropping the F-bomb every other word. And I said, oh, just you wait. And then they did. And I did feel like there's a couple things I want to say that I felt like it got more and more scandalous through the episodes, more swearing. It's not for the faint of heart. If you're not interested in hearing the F-bomb 50 times in an hour, then you maybe shouldn't watch it. I mean, it definitely is not, like it's not very Mormon-y as far as that. I do feel like they were swearing more. I feel like they were than the first season. I feel like they were being just a little bit more edgy this season. And I have some interesting thoughts about that. And I don't know how I feel. But my husband maybe got through about 1.5 episodes total. And then he was like, yeah, this is good for you to watch, and I'm not interested. So
pass. There you go. So what do you think then? Do you think that I certainly have some of those thoughts where, it's Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I already on the internet have seen the surge of women within the church that have said, I wish they would do a show that represents what a real Mormon wife would be. And I read those and I go, I understand that you do not see yourself in these women, right?
Yeah.
But let me guarantee you what show no one would watch. A non-drama filled, faithful Latter-day Saint family that just has, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get that we want to see ourselves portrayed accurately, and I think there's more accuracy in this than we really want to let on. I think that this, or aspects of this, occurs within the culture of our church far more than we would like to admit. But a show where it's just people being kind and no sort of drama and all of that stuff may be a more accurate depiction, and it would be as much of a season as your husband watched. It would be 1.5 episodes and it would be canceled and we would be done.
Totally. I'm picturing, the woman dropping off a meal for someone who just had a baby, and then the girlfriends who go to the temple together and go and eat afterwards, and the, at the sporting events and whatever. It would be very boring, honestly. Yeah. But
I mean, maybe brief moments of things that we would go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Like, certainly there could be a whole, between commercial breaks of the Fricks and the got down sats on a bench. We could get into, that would be a funny episode, I think, for people. Uh, it would not be what this is.
Yeah. No,
So
it wouldn't be. So this season, I mean, should we hop into?
let's do it. I'll follow you. You're in charge.
So, okay, I didn't take any notes as I was watching. I was watching while I'm at the gym or cooking dinner or whatever. But, the beginning opened up with our friends Zach and Jen Affleck. I feel like this was in the first episode. Zach and Jen had kind of separated a little bit. We find out that they had moved to Arizona for medical school, which I'm really dying that I never saw them or ran into them anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But he shows up at Jen's door in Utah and said, I've dropped out of medical school because I need to help. I need to fix our marriage and I want to support you in this mom talk journey that you're on. And I'm just going, you dropped out of medical school? Like, this does not seem like a very good life choice, right? Like, can we figure out how to make it work while you're still, furthering your career? Then he did say he talked to the dean and they've given him a 1-year leave of absence to potentially be able to come back. So, okay. But I just find it so interesting that these women, this is their business. This is their livelihood, this mom talk thing. And I just wonder, do you really think that's going to last forever? Maybe it will. I guess it could. And I'm sure the money that she makes doing mom talk and being on The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I'm sure it's substantial.
Sure.
But it seems strange that he would drop out of medical school and that they wouldn't try to figure out a way around having to do that. So that was kind of my first big moment in the show. That just seemed like a little bit irresponsible, but also I guess kudos to him that he's wanting to repair his marriage and get his family back together. And if that's the only way, then maybe that's where he sees that's the only way they can do that.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'll even go before that. Like the opening credits is all like baptism thematic of these women in white dresses and the heavy "Sing ye saints" and it's so funny to me the way I feel like the producers try and shoehorn the church or faith and church in general into it.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I see that opening sequence, I'm like, where is this cross? What cross are we showing in Salt Lake? Probably the Cathedral of the Madeleine, right? But when we're trying to make this Mormon Lives connection, Zach in season 1, super douchey hair. Not so douchey hair in season 2. Looks like an adult that could have kids and have a wife this time.
Yes. So, yeah.
And we learn that he's sort of stepping away from going to church at this time. And then there's a whole thing where they're going and doing ketamine and everything like that. And the thing that I can't help but think of in that, you remember in the first season when they go and sit down with Zach's family, and Zach's family is like we get together on Sunday. Mom is wearing the to the nines hosting dress for Sunday dinner kind of thing. Yeah. And the thing for me that I took away from that is what are his parents thinking about this whole thing? Like he's dropping out of school because that's parent driven or at least parent strongly encouraged. And that now he's like, I'm just going to support you. I get that. The whole mom talk being the business, you could blend those things into other businesses and opportunities and be able to live off of that for the rest of your life. And done right, like if you're not being ridiculous with your money, you could probably make enough in a couple seasons of doing this TV show and mom talk that you would be just fine, and then could end up, doing something like that. But I don't get the aspect that that's what they're doing, right? All of them are driving like Rivians and, these expensive cars. I am surprised a little bit. Let me be catty for a minute. I'm surprised by a few of their homes.
Yes.
Some of their homes, I'm like, yeah, that looks like a home of someone that's making a good amount of money. And then other ones, I'm like, that is a small town home.
Yeah.
What are we doing with all of the money that you guys are making? But that's my financial judgment.
I have the same thought when I saw Whitney's car. It's a Kia of some sort. And I was like, oh, that's weird, because everyone else is driving a little bit nicer cars than that. So I've definitely had those judgments for sure. And then I wonder, I guess Jen Affleck is in an Airbnb it's a little bit smaller, but they're renting it out as an Airbnb. So, but yeah, I've had the exact same thought. There's definitely moments of cattiness as I'm watching and judging a little bit for sure. And, judging maybe their clothes a little bit. I don't know. I have some judgments about one particular girl, but anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you got to go there. Let's hear the judgment about one.
So Whitney always thought she was the worst dressed on season 1. And I really thought maybe she would step it up a little bit in this season. And she hasn't. She's still really terribly dressed. And honestly, she does not fit. She seems like the black sheep of Mom Talk, which she is. In fact, the whole season was trying to decide if they're going to let her back in after the things she had done to the ladies in season 1. But like, she still doesn't quite fit the mold. You've got all of them with their long, beautiful hair and their perfect makeup and their perfect bodies. And Whitney just doesn't fit. You just look at all of them, you're like, she just stands out like a sore thumb. She's a much more normal looking, I would say. And maybe kudos to her that she doesn't buy into having to have the long extensions and having to spend hours on her hair and makeup. But it is funny because I kind of think about when I see a group of ladies like that, like if I'm just out and I see a group of ladies, they all kind of fit this mold. And you just wonder, Whitney doesn't fit the mold. I wonder why she's even there. Anyway.
Yeah. So when I hear that and I watch it, I think the history, because as I understand it, and this evolves sort of throughout the season 2, is that we find, Taylor was the one who started it and sort of invited these people in, and Miranda, right? She is in, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure. Yep. But sort of gets all these people invited. What I would be curious, similar in a way, I think, if I can make this a little navel gazy, like the cultural hall, where it's like, how do I know Molly? Well, Molly is Megan's sister, and Molly, when Megan wanted to leave, Molly said she could come and do it, and Molly and I got along really well. And then, all right, so who is Verlin? How did Verlin come on the show? Right? Like, I sort of think that that's sort of interesting. And then you look at this with the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and Mom Talk, and you kind of, I sort of start to go the same thing. I go, okay, like I would see where maybe Taylor and Miranda would be at a thing together. Okay. Where did we find Whitney? Is Whitney like a friend from, and it's no sort of shade in that way. I actually like that she's so different.
Yes.
In some ways she serves as like, we aren't all crazy sort of reference point for me. But I wonder, like, if she's like the friend from elementary school where someone's like, guys, she's really great.
Yeah.
We gotta bring her along. Or as I like to call it, the Richie of the group. Whenever there's a thing and I stick out like a sore thumb, it's like, why is he here? Well, I mean, he's just came along. Yeah, we couldn't get rid of him. He's nice enough. He doesn't fit in, but can we keep him? He'll keep begging to try and be a part of this group if we don't let him. So it's sort of that thing.
No, I actually totally agree with you. It's a little bit refreshing. And I didn't love Whitney in season 1. I actually liked her a lot better this season. We see her after just having her baby. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of the scenes, she's there with her baby. I mean, she's not pretending like she doesn't have this newborn that she has to take care of. She went on a few trips with them and didn't have the baby, of course. But in other situations, the baby is right there. She's nursing him. She's taking care of him. And I really liked her a little bit more this season. And Michaela really.
By the way, how funny. Macy, Miranda. No, not Michaela. No, yeah. It's just like.
Oh my gosh. It's like, yeah. So now I've forgotten. Michaela really cannot stand Whitney. And through all 10 episodes, she really hasn't given her any kind of grace and is like, no, I still can't stand you. I still don't ever want to be around you. And Whitney's just kind of sitting there like, I mean, I don't know. I think they've all made a lot of mistakes and none of them are innocent on anything they've done or said. And it's all gossipy and whatever. But it is interesting that she still won't let her have the time of day. But Whitney wasn't really a catalyst for any drama this season, really. So I'm like, maybe they need to give her a shot. And they did in the end decide to let her back into Mom Talk. So we'll see how that goes. I have to say, one thing that I found so interesting through every episode, almost every one they mentioned, this was not the purpose of Mom Talk.
Yes.
And I'm like, what? I thought Mom Talk was just like, we're just a bunch of young moms and we're doing our dances together. But like, there's an actual purpose. Is there an actual like motto, I don't know. Apparently, though, it seems like it's women supporting women, building each other up, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, well, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. And they try and weave it so much through the season that it became, if we were drinkers in our household, it almost became a drinking game to the point that we would laugh out loud when they would say, well, the true spirit of mom talk. And yeah, like you're saying, like there's a mantra. I want to know if there's a wall somewhere that's like mom talk. We stand for women supporting women and being able to be, power, blah, 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 these different things that they sort of throw out there that they are doing the exact opposite. No part of it. No part. Yeah. When we really came to this, we wanted to be, what? There's no part of supporting women in this thing.
No, not at all. So I'm glad that you found that amusing as well, because it just, the more and more they mention it, like you said, it was definitely like a drinking game. I'm like, oh, here we are again.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, where's the plaque? Someone show us the plaque that actually describes what this is supposed to be, because I had no idea. Now I wanted to ask your opinion. There was one episode that my husband happened to be there a little bit for, and I ended up fast forwarding through most of it. And it was the sex party. Okay. Now I am not like a prude. I am happy to talk about any sex, that sort of thing. But I just felt like it was in such poor taste. The cupcakes and just a lot of the things they had. I was like, I actually don't really want to read that. I don't want to watch this. And especially with my husband there, he didn't want to. He wasn't really watching anyway. But I found it to be really for the like shock value of it. And my thought is, okay, I am a Mormon housewife, and I've gone to plenty of parties, none exactly like that. But like, is that happening in the real world? Am I just so immune to it that parties like that are so sexual with like, I mean, anyway, I don't mind if you go to a party and there's like penis balloons and that sort of thing, but I just felt like this was so far beyond that that it just kind of made me a little bit uncomfortable. And I just don't know that that's really happening in mainstream real world. Do you think
so? I would tell you, Cutco knives.
Yes.
And the what's the all the fun stuff for your kitchen? What is that one called?
Pampered Chef.
Pampered Chef, right? They'd have these Pampered Chef parties. Everyone, let's dial it back 15 years. Come on over. Molly, I'm having a Pampered Chef party. There are, so I do think that this is a thing that happens way more in the church than we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And maybe a little not rightfully so, but hopefully so. So there, at least here in Utah, because if we can make money doing something in an MLM, we certainly will. There were these things like Pampered Chef, all these kitchen gadgets. That's maybe not the best way to onboard what I'm about to say, but like these slumber parties would be all of these bedroom gadgets, essentially, right? And not all of the things that our minds instantly go to. It could also just be things like, sensual oils or candles or, some of these other things. But everything from the very most innocent to the very most not innocent or whatever that is. And for a while, I think it sort of died down recently. But for a while, it was come to my party and, I'm giving away this. Some lucky person will win this. And we're going to talk about this and we're going to have a coach this and we're going to all of those things. And some of the visual things, I think, I think that people do because they go, hey, this is the theme of the party and we're making all the things on the theme because Mormons like a theme for a party. Yeah. It didn't make me uncomfortable at all. I think it's silly and ridiculous, but it didn't make me uncomfortable. I just was like, all right, you're at this kind of party. And undoubtedly within this, you probably fast forwarded this part, you see the entire range. And this is where I feel like the show gets it super accurate. The entire range of comfortability with sexuality among the group and within the church as well, where the people that are like, it's no holds barred in our bedroom, like anything and whatever. And then the people that are like, I don't even know what you would do with that or what that even is. And I feel uncomfortable even being in the same room as it and everything in between. So
yeah. And I could have probably given it more of a shot. And I actually was going to go back and watch it again later, but I never did. I just knew that it was, I sometimes get weird about things that I'm watching in my family room on my big screen TV, knowing that like I have a child upstairs and my husband is right there. I don't know. Like it's like if I was just watching it on my phone on the airplane, like I did some of the episodes, it probably would have been a little bit different. But it was like I knew my husband just didn't want to watch that for 45 minutes. And I just was like, eh. And it was more the and it's not anything to do with the sex toys. I'm like all whatever. I'm all for any of that. Like it was the cupcakes with like the lady parts on them. It wasn't that, I was like, seriously, that's just gross. Like move on. Anyway, whatever.
No, well, let me tell you about this and maybe why that particular part didn't bother me so much. When I was in fifth grade maturation.
Yeah.
You remember? Did they do this? I think it was fifth grade for the guys and fourth grade for the girls. I don't know how they do this anymore. I've got to think they do it a different way, but maybe they don't. I know when my kid was in fifth and sixth grade or maybe seventh grade, like I went to his maturation program because my ex-wife couldn't do it. Was like, I can't, yeah, I'm not ready to do it or whatever.
Yeah.
But when I went to mine, they had cupcakes at our maturation program, but they had gumdrops in the center of the cupcakes, not thinking what those looked like to fifth grade boys. And so all the fifth grade boys grabbed the cupcakes with the gumdrops in the center on the top in the frosting and held them to their chest and wandered around after an hour of talking uncomfortable sex talk with each other. They looked like boobs. So I guess I just didn't think much about the cupcakes because I've always had anatomically designed cupcakes. Yeah.
Cupcakes. So you're just there.
Okay, you're going to go there? Oh, we're up at a level because it's a different kind of thing? All right. But that story in elementary school, ridiculous. Because I can remember literally every single one of my friends, each of us were double fisting a cupcake and just, look, I got cupcake boobs.
Nice. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, that was just probably my least favorite episode. But yeah, and maybe I'll go back and watch it and see, because I know that I'm pretty sure Layla learned about orgasms and that or something. It sounded like, I mean, I think having healthy sexuality is really important too. So I am not one of those that is like, I'm going to push this aside. In fact, I was just talking to my 22-year-old son the other night about the sex talk we gave him. We were at Red Lobster. We took him to Red Lobster to get crab legs when we gave him the sex talk when he was like 8 or 9 or whatever. And I happened to be there and he called.
Hold on. There is a story and a half there, but I'm just going to let you go through. You see, son, when a mom crab and a dad crab. Anyway, move on. So you're a Red Lobster. He's 8.
He's 8, yes. And anyway, we have not been to Red Lobster probably since then, but we're looking through gift cards we have and we're like, let's go to dinner. So we're like, we have a Red Lobster gift card. Let's go. So my son happens to call. I'm like, do you remember the last time we went to Red Lobster? And he's like, was it when you gave me the sex talk? I'm like, yes, it was. Anyway, that was 14 years ago. He's like, I don't really think you taught me anything. And he goes, I don't remember anything about that sex talk. And I'm like, kidding me? So then I had to relay it to him in his now 22-year-old brain, what we talked about when he was 8. But anyway, so I am not one that wants to shy away from sexuality. I think it's very important to teach that. I think it's important that women and men are fulfilled in their sex lives. I just think they get a little bit crazy. But, this was all based on the whole swinging scandal, which, like you said, as we learned more in this season, maybe it wasn't full on swinging. However, when Taylor was talking about, there were like 2 separate husbands and wives in the same bed having sex together. I'm like, okay, that is just so weird. And I'm thinking through every single friend I have, and I'm like, I would never, like, in the same room, it's embarrassing when we're like, anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I that kind of thing would be uncomfortable to me. I can remember being a 16-year-old kid. I was a little bit of a whatever. My friend Mikey and we drove out to the Great Salt Lake in the middle of the night, and we had 2 girls with us.
Yeah.
And we were super tired. I was driving my old Hyundai 88 Hyundai Excel, and as we were driving back, I'm like, I am too tired. I cannot make this drive.
Yeah.
And I got a hotel room at 16, which there's some laws I'm sure broken there, but whatever. I was a very smooth talking weirdo at 16 years old. I got a hotel room. The girl that I was there with we fell asleep on the bed and were awoken to my friend Mikey and the other girl on the floor. And I can just tell you there is no part of that wasn't scarring, uncomfortable, or anything that I would ever want to replicate in any situation ever. Plus, now I think about it, and I'm just like, I gotta stay focused here. I'm trying to be focused. Anything else going on? I'm not sure we can do this. Can I just can here? I gotta do this. This is
Oh my gosh.
This is the matter at hand.
That's hilarious. I love it. That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be overshare, but I did
I love
hear some of those things, and it's just like, okay. And I didn't think much of like, you hear Taylor and that she kissed Miranda at a party when they were drunk. Like you see that sort of ridiculous stuff happen, and you just kind of go, yeah, okay, well, they're not going to do it. The thing that I think sort of on a separate part of that is it seems, and though we don't get a chance to get to know Miranda very much, like she seems, although has kind of left the church, seems to be like the most Christian person
Yes.
of all of the people that are there.
I got the same thing. She seems way more reserved almost than any of them. So it was interesting that she was the one that Taylor made out with. But I do think when alcohol is involved, people lose their minds a little bit and don't fully understand what they're doing. And it does seem like while she's not, hasn't like repented or whatever, she does seem to regret what she did, and it does cause she and her husband Chase to divorce. They seem to have a good relationship now as co-parents and whatnot. And but yeah, it was interesting. And I felt like we didn't get to know Miranda very well. She was very much there, involved all the time, but she kind of like hung back, which was probably good. They still have decided she's not exactly invited into Mom Talk officially yet. We did learn that. But they're going to continue to give her a shot. And I think she's probably doing a good job by not being the center of any kind of drama. And if she wants to be a part of it, probably just laying low is the best way for her to be doing that. Now, I don't know if you remember if I told you that I ran into them at the Phoenix airport when they were here.
Yes, I did. I remembered.
And
picture with it. Only a couple of them, right? Not all of them.
So the pictures with Taylor, Miranda, and Michaela, it was those three, maybe Macy, I can't remember now. Anyway, but it was funny because my 14-year-old watched the first episode of this season without me knowing. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. She is my youngest, so she does watch a lot more, things than my older kids would have watched at her age. But
because you treat her differently because she's your favorite. Go on.
Totally, exactly. But she's like, Mom, Miranda and Taylor are being so rude to each other in like the first episode. And she goes, but when we saw them in the airport, they were totally friends. They were happy and they were chatting. And I thought that was a funny thing for her to recognize that, like, so maybe a little bit more of the drama on the TV is specifically for the drama, but like in the real life situation, they did seem really happy and chummy together. And, I don't know. But it was fun to watch those episodes of them being down in Scottsdale. And I was like, oh yeah, I saw them. Oh yeah, they were. Yeah. We did see Demi and Jesse, and they were definitely away from the other ladies when we saw them in the airport, which makes sense because they very much have their little friendship, which was starting to crumble towards the end of this season, which has been interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And of course, anyway, but let's go back. Like, I won't spoil a lot of the end just yet, but, back to Jen and Zach, just for those who aren't going to watch the 10 hours of this show and they're happy to listen to this for the entire recap.
Sure.
Jen is really struggling. She ended up pregnant while she and Zach have been separated, but trying to work things out. She ended up pregnant, and and she's just been super emotional and depressed and really, really struggling. So they ended up stopping the filming with her midway through the season, just out of respect for her mental health, which was probably good. I think she realized she is a mess. But what was interesting to me is so many of the girls are really against her. And I don't really think, other than the Chippendales from last season and them being frustrated with Zach being so controlling and that sort of thing, I didn't recall why anyone would dislike her or think she's so fake. But apparently something happened on the Vanderpump Villas, which is another show with Lisa Vanderpump and some other people.
Yeah, they didn't crossover.
Yes. Where it seems like Demi, Jesse, Layla, and Jen all had gone, and some things went down there where Jen was basically spreading some rumors that maybe weren't rumors about some inappropriate things maybe Demi was doing with someone there. And I don't know if that's the core reason for this fracture as to why they dislike Jen so much. But another interesting thing about Jen, I felt like in season 1, she was maybe the most LDS mainstream. She was actually even wearing her garments some in season 1. She definitely isn't in season 2 at all. So I don't really know where her stance is, but we know that Zach has stepped away from the church. Jen still kind of made some comments that she's like, I don't know. I feel like I don't have God with me right now and I maybe need to. And she kind of made some comments before they stopped filming that I was like, yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe she realizes she needs to have a little bit more God in her life or something. But I did see that huge switch with her from season 1 to season 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to take a break. Let's split this sucker in half. We'll come back in the second half. I want to talk about not only Jen, but also some of the what felt like really like force-fed religious aspects of the season 2. Come back and do that in the second half of this. What do we call it? This thing we're doing, this Secret Lives thing. We'll come back. Let me take just a moment to tell you all about bestdjinutah.com. That is the website where you can learn all about me. Oh, sure, you probably feel like you know me, but you know me in the cultural hall sense. I have a DJ company, now 6 of us strong. Great event hosts, MCs, and DJs that can be able to make whatever event you have coming up absolutely spectacular, and hope you will reach out to us. Now you're thinking, well, wait a minute, Richie, I don't live in Utah. Would you travel? Absolutely, I would travel. Would they travel? Absolutely, they would travel. Whatever your event is, doesn't have to be a wedding or a community event. We can do all sorts of things. I can teach you line dancing. I can dance with you. We can do partner dancing. We can do all kinds of things, but we can't do any of it if you don't hit me up. You can go to bestdjinutah.com. You can fill out the form to get more information or get a quote, and then I will get right back to you. Find out why I'm so busy and why sometimes we don't get episodes of the Cultural Hall. It's all because of bestdjinutah.com. Here in the second half, we continue with the Secret Lives. It's interesting to me, and I think that people will do this because this is how we are as a people, people in general, and Mormon people. Is they'll watch this show if they want to try and prove this point. Is they'll say, "See what happened? The pride entered into the lives of these women, and now we're starting to see them fall away from the church and stuff like that." Yeah. Watch as they get a little bit of this, and then they're enticed to whatever. Now they're doing these things, and I don't know that it's wholly wrong. I think it's funny that I know that people will do that.
Yeah.
But in the particular instance of that, yeah, you just sort of you're seeing people's lives played out. This show to me, and I don't watch a lot of reality TV, seems like it is overshare central.
Yes.
So much oversharing that to me, I watch it and I think the reason why I am captivated about this is because it is too much. You are keeping nothing to yourselves. And I sort of empathize with any of the husbands. I would just be like, no, you are not doing this, or create a character that is not real life and play that character when you're on this show and then come back to me and we can be normal. But this thing that is happening right now is too much. Please stop. Can't do, won't do, shouldn't do, can continue this way. And I just mouth open so many times, just being like, why would you think that you could say that? Or why would you even say that? Or why would you share that? And I guess it's because, it's what the people want. We got to give the people what they want.
Yeah. I mean, money talks, right? I mean, are these husbands like, oh, well, she's bringing in the big bucks, so share away whatever you want. But no, I agree with you. It is so much oversharing. You know what I noticed is Macy, like I actually really, really love Macy. Of all of them, I think she does seem like the most down to earth, perhaps. Her husband doesn't seem to be front and center ever, which in fact, and I think her husband was one who prayed at the Friendsgiving dinner. I was like, who is that saying that really nice prayer over dinner? I think it was her husband. I think of all of them, he kind of seems the less drama, that he's just like, I'll let Macy do her thing. She's putting out this book. She's, bringing in the money, but he doesn't seem to want to be central in it. Whereas most of the other husbands, they're pretty well, they're out there. What else I thought was interesting? when you talk about religion maybe being forced a little bit on this, there were several times where there were some prayers said. They're very much LDS
Yes.
prayed,
Yeah.
definitely.
Did you notice that each of them, "We are thankful for this day," was the first line? Our dearest Heavenly Father, or Heavenly Father, or whatever it is. First line out of the gate. We're thankful for this day. We're thankful for this day. We're thankful for this day that we are. It was almost rote prayer of, we're thankful for this day and for the opportunity.
Yep. It's very ingrained in all of us. Now, what was interesting is when they were in New Orleans, they recited the Young Women theme. Did you see that? That was very interesting. And they all just picked up right away, no matter if it's been 15 years since they've said it, they all remember it. And then they kind of started talking about how this is why some people think it's culty and on that sort of thing. I thought it was interesting. They were talking about the temple there, and some of them, all but two of them have been through the temple. Layla and Michaela have not, but Layla was saying, well, yeah, I'll probably get married in the temple if, I don't remember who the guy she's dating. Cam. Yeah. Because that's really important to Cam. So that'll be interesting to see if that unfolds, because right now she and Cam are having premarital sex. She thought she was pregnant, so it'll be interesting to see if that plays out like that. I felt like, and I have no problems with people praying, no matter what. I mean, they should be praying. I love that they want to pray. I love that they want to speak to their Heavenly Father and still have a belief in that. I think that's fantastic. But I have to tell you one other thing, which is a judgment thing, again, that I'm making as I'm watching it. I would struggle if one of those women was like a young women's leader for my child.
Okay. Interesting.
So like I want them to be at church, like come to church, come and feel the Spirit, come and listen, whatever. But I think you have to be careful with women like that they're not in a place, are they given a calling? Like, I don't know. It's just so interesting to me to think about, like, if they're coming to church, do they have a calling? And they probably would fulfill their callings if they were given one. But as a mother, it would be hard for them to be one of my young women leaders for my children. So I don't know and maybe that's super judgmental of me, but like, I want, like I said, I want them there, but I don't think they should be an example to what I want my girls to be.
Well, and they are an example, at least in some way, not necessarily to your girls in particular, but certainly are an example to some of what the church is. Oh, Mormon women are like this.
Yeah.
Or, a woman can be like this, and you could be like this too. And so, I think that that's an interesting distinction that you've made. Like, if any of them are going to church, and we don't really get, we don't get the checklist. All right, who went to church this last Sunday? You get sort of glimpses and elements of it. But yeah, if they were going active to church, you would hope that they would have a calling, but maybe not one where it's like, hey, let me be your leader into the decisions that you're making.
Yeah. Like they're on the activities committee or nursery, or I don't know. Again, it's a judgment probably, but something that that would be tricky.
Yeah.
Tricky. Especially when they're out there, they're so out there and visible. And anyway, I don't know.
We've had this discussion recently in the Cultural Hall in a general sense, and I see it walked and played out within the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. But women and men wearing crosses. Many crosses. So many crosses worn by the women in Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Only maybe one of them is that over the top where I just am like, what are we doing here? That is so gaudy, pun intended, your cross. But the rest of them, I think there was a bracelet. There's a couple smaller sort of pieces, neck pieces and things like that. And I just think, what an interesting cultural movement, is that what I want to say, within the LDS Church? These are women that, like it or not, are associated with Mormonism and are wearing crosses, and women within our congregations and men more and more are wearing crosses. And 20 years ago, you would have got a cross. We celebrate the life, not the death. End of story.
Yep. Yeah, no, I noticed the same thing. And then because you and I talked about this, I know we've talked about it a few times, but I was like, is this a way for them to like slightly distance themselves from being like the mainstream cultural Mormon? Or is it a way for them to say like, as mainstream Mormons in the last 5 years, we have embraced the cross a little bit more, and it's okay to wear it. And like I told you, I like to wear mine, so I feel so other Christians understand that I'm also a Christian. For me, it's literally to help bridge that gap where they think Mormons are not Christians.
Right.
So I don't know what all their reasonings are, but I think it's great. I think it's okay for them to show it, and it's important to show that it's not a bad thing to wear the cross, even as a Mormon. So. Yeah.
I made the mistake as I was watching with my wife. We watched all of them together, and no fights in season 2 between my wife and I. We got into a fight or two during season 1 with some of the things because her and I felt very differently about who might have been in the wrong within season 1. Season 2, nope, we're good. I pointed out that I liked that in a sea of brunettes that Miranda was blonde. That was dangerous territory for me to step toward. And I said it, and then I went, yeah, but anyway, let's keep watching.
It is actually funny because, yeah, they are all brunette besides her, and she's very blonde. So, I want to let's talk about Taylor a little bit because, I kind of felt really badly for her in one of the first episodes. Well, let's also talk about her mom. Did you notice that her mom had all of that work done
Yes.
to now look like she and Taylor are sisters? I'm like, oh, she looks very different than she used to. So.
Yeah,
Kind of like,
so her mom and dad were in my old ward. When
really?
Yeah, they were in, I had met Taylor once or twice, just being in the same ward as her parents. So Jeremy and Leanne were in my ward. I didn't know them super well, but they were there. Jeremy and I had talked on occasion. As we watched season 2, I was like, you know who they're going to try and turn down an application to be a part of Mom Talk next to? Leanne. Leanne probably wants this more, I felt in some ways, than maybe even Taylor does, where Taylor was like, maybe I should just take a step back. And Leanne's like, no, you shouldn't. You definitely have to be there. They are the one,
Yep. I thought the same.
uncomfortable.
Well, very uncomfortable. And what about that scene in, I think episode 2, where they're sitting outside at a barbecue and Dakota is there, and Taylor's dad literally says to Taylor, you had only met him 3 times and then you're having sex with him? Like, it's your fault. And I was like, okay, well, we could all be thinking that. Of course, like, yeah, you really shouldn't be sleeping with someone when you've only met them 3 times. Like, let's be real. But like, this is your daughter, and she has a child now with this man, and they're both equally fault. And it really kind of felt like they were taking Dakota's side a little bit. And I thought, support them both and realize they both made big mistakes. But I felt a little bit badly for Taylor. I feel Taylor really is like the catalyst that got Mom Talk going. I mean, it was her swinging scandal. So really, I kind of feel like all these women have Taylor to thank for their success and their celebrity now. And I feel like she gets dragged through the mud a little bit more than she should. I think she's hurting. She's like kind of doesn't really know where she is in her life, and it's a struggle. And I think that they really need to be thankful for her for getting them what they have, honestly. So.
Yeah. A couple things about that for me. I think, and to your point, I don't think that ever, dads or moms should say it in that way. But I would suspect, if I may, that probably like you're in and around the drama so much that sometimes you just have to be like, I got to say it like this because I don't think you're going to hear it any other way. Blah, word vomit, and you say it out, and that doesn't make it okay. But I think that there's that part of that. And then the other thing that I think, there are a lot of struggles by each of the people within the show. I genuinely get concerned about Taylor. Like, as much as I can care about someone within a TV show, right? Like, I think that people have these things where it's like, okay, well, she'll either be a part of the group or she's going to go off with her 15-year-older than her husband and do something else, and she'll probably be fine. She'll be able to have these things. And yeah, I understand why she wouldn't like that woman, and they're going to go have another kid. Maybe they should settle down and be a little more quiet. But the elements of Taylor's life that you see played out, like I just think, the big buzzword within it is, oh, I got some work to do. And I just am like, man, I hope that this does not, that this show or the fame or the whatever that's around it doesn't feed into the mental health of her to a point that we see something. I mean, because we sort of already have, and that was before even the show started with everything with the first husband and all of that. I suppose I question, is she mentally well and getting the attention and help that she needs, or is it a bunch of people, and us included, that are sort of preying upon the mental unease of it for entertainment value, and then it's gonna go somewhere that none of us ever wanted it to, but that we had a hand in
Right.
having it go there.
Right. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. It's hard to watch her and see her struggling so much. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Let me think. Is there anything else? I mean, obviously, always going to be drama. We hate her. We have parties, saints and sinners.
Yes.
The Friendsgiving, all of these kind of things. I'd love to have a party. That's what I kept thinking when I saw those. I was like, I'd love to. And then I thought about inviting people, and I was like, never mind. I'm not actually that interested.
So I'm past that stage. I used to have parties all the time, and I don't want it anymore. I'd rather be by myself and not control it. So yeah, the last couple of things I wanted to just touch on. So there was a pregnancy test roulette that they did in New Orleans, which really was kind of heartbreaking for Demi. We found Demi and her husband Brett have been trying for 4 years to have a child, and they can't figure out what's wrong, and they've been going through this and that. And so they decided to do all these pregnancy tests anonymously. Turns out that 2 pregnancy tests came out positive, and at the time, they didn't know whose they were, but it really showed Demi and her pain of not being able to get pregnant. And so that was maybe not in good taste. And I did feel really badly for her, no matter, I mean, Demi is not an innocent person in this, as we found out. She apparently was trying to turn Taylor away from going to Jesse's hair salon, and she's supposed to be best friends with Jesse, and she was trying to get more money on the show. So it seems like Demi is kind of a little bit of a villain here that we didn't really realize, but I did feel for her in her fertility.
Sure.
And being that I have kept myself away from social media a lot and following these, I did not know that Macy and Michaela were both pregnant until watching this show. So that was kind of exciting. Again, spoiler alert. Sorry if you're watching this. Yeah, so that was hard. Also, Demi, now we found she is not a part of Mom Talk right now. She's taking a break based on her dislike for Taylor, and really basically saying, if Taylor's in Mom Talk, I'm out of here. So she's taking a little step back, and no one seems too heartbroken by that.
Yep.
Interesting. And then lastly, the big cliffhanger is all about Jessie, and did she cheat on her husband with Marciano, the guy from the Vanderpump Villa? I am so anxious to find out the truth about that, and I'm just absolutely distraught that I might have to wait 4 months before the next release. So part of me is like, do I want to go down the rabbit hole and research it and figure it out?
Don't do it.
I won't.
Please do it. Don't.
It'll only happen if it like pops up in my newsfeed. But until then, I'm trying. It was kind of fun to watch and be surprised by some of these things. And so I hate it that they're now possibly waiting that long, and that's so annoying.
But that it's been #1 since it came out. It's been #1 on Hulu since it came out. Literally.
Yep.
Constantly #1. They have 10 more episodes that are in production, have been filmed, are going on currently. So we know that that's going on. I would imagine that within the next 2 weeks or so, we'll get an announcement about another certain amount of episodes. So that that's going to go on in perpetuity. Got to figure out how to make my way onto the show somehow. No, I'm just joking.
I know. How can you not be AJ at one of their parties? I mean,
so my friend is the DJ at the 2 parties that we've seen. He is the DJ that is there, and he's like, it's super fun, except that you have to be there for so long, and you're not allowed to play real music because real music can't bleed onto the screen. Otherwise, they have to pay for it. So it's all these like backtracks that are like Muzak, and it's like, it sounds kind of like this song, but it's not at all. It's just he's grateful for the opportunity, etc. But it's not maybe as fun as you might think or want it to be.
Yeah, but dang, you could get some inside information.
Right?
That could be really good. I don't know.
Fun to see all the different places in Utah that they go and see, and across the country. I thought it was funny, the comment that they made. So Joey Fatone was the one who hosted the thing in Arizona with Macy, and they were like, "Is he an NSYNC or a Backstreet Boy?" I appreciated that we're far enough removed from Joey Fatone being famous, just famous enough to host a pickleball tournament in Arizona. But is he Backstreet Boy or is he NSYNC? I don't know.
Well, it's funny you say just famous enough, and apparently Macy is also just famous enough. I mean,
Yes.
That's hilarious to me that she's the celebrity host for the pickleball tournament. But
yeah, I didn't know about her. I don't think they were married. So here's the thing that got confusing me. They weren't married. She got pregnant. She was an athlete at BYU and got pregnant.
Yeah, and he was also he was an athlete too at BYU, right?
Played baseball.
Yeah,
and was killed in a collision with a semi.
Yeah.
Up Spanish Fork Canyon, which, by the way, I always like to tell my wife, she goes, I know, Highway 6, one of the most dangerous canyon roads in the entire country, so be careful if you ever drive that. But yeah, I didn't know that aspect of it. The idea of having, because her now husband, who is, I would assume, father of Hudson, their 8-year-old kid that she had with the previous husband, like he's dad to that kid, and he's got in-laws that are neither her parents nor his parents that they have to stay close to. It's probably different with a death, but I try and put myself in some of those situations and go, how would I show up? I'd hope I'd show up well, but there are some unique situations I'd go, that might be a little awkward.
Yeah. They seem to be really friendly though with those in-laws, parents of the deceased boyfriend, but yeah.
Yeah.
You're handling it well. But yeah, that was interesting. And to see her go to the crash site for the first time, and all very interesting, and really it's super heartbreaking. She was only less than 14 weeks pregnant. So, in fact, he probably barely even knew. I mean, he didn't even know for very long before he passed away. So,
well, and he didn't know that it was a boy.
Oh.
So she reveals that, hey, I didn't even get a chance to tell him that it was a boy. So very, very young in the pregnancy.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. It was, I think it's going to continue to be popular. I think it's the, the voyeuristic part of us that just likes to see what is going on and to just go like, this is pure entertainment. And hopefully for all of them, their mental health isn't too affected. I do appreciate, like I said, that Jen stepped away and hopefully she's doing well. But yeah, I will be here ready for the next episodes to launch. I mean, it's crazy. It's really crazy. I think about maybe 20 years ago, if you would have told me, oh, this show about real Mormon housewives, it's like, really? That's weird. But nothing like it would have been 20 years ago, that's for sure.
Yeah. I find myself screaming, you should leave. If you want to have a normal life, you should no longer do this. And also, get me another episode and I'll sit down here and watch it.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I appreciate not only the time that it took for you to view all of the episodes, but for the insight that you shared, the hour that you took away from your husband on a weekend with no kids. Are you crazy? Why would you do that? Go be with your husband. And actually, I appreciate it very much. It's fun to be able to hear your take on all of this stuff. Get excited because as you and I speak, Molly, Verlin, the news wizard, he is binging Secret Lives. And when he and I chat later this week, we are going to mansplain the crap out of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, as only two dudes talking about women can do. So we'll have a revisit to some of these things. Look forward to that, everyone. If you've not subscribed yet on YouTube, be sure you do. We're just a few people, I don't know, a couple hundred probably, away from being able to be our own kind of channel, and then we'll have our own show, The Cultural Hall, except we're going to call it Morm Talk, MORMTOK. It's Morm Talk. Morm Talk. Isn't that great? I should have patented it. I should have never said that out loud because someone's going to steal it. If you have issue with anything we said in the episode, I'd love to chat an episode with you. Like I say, this will be the news about Mormon people for the next couple of months, at least weeks for sure. Contact at theculturalhall.com. Molly, I hope that this episode has nourished and strengthened your body.
And if you weren't well enough to listen this week, you'll be well enough next week.
Okay, better. And that when the time comes, you'll be able to travel home in safety.
In the meantime, Chris at Alpine Lakes Travel, Debbie Wanless, Chocolate Cake Bites Podcast, and the Tiger with a U will be saving a seat for you
on the back row
of the Cultural Hall.
Save me a seat, it's sure to be neat. On the back row, we really gotta go on the Cultural Hall show.